Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I am checking out XForce number 10. Benjamin Percy, Joshua Cassara, and Guru Effects is your color artist. If you're not following Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara on Twitter, man, they're two of the best characters out there as far as just talking with fans and just really being good dudes overall. So anyways, let's get into the book. And because it's been so long, I'm going to do a little catch up here. And to do that, we got to jump back to XForce number 6. And in XForce number 6, Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara introduced us to the country of Terra Verde. And what happened with the country of Terra Verde is they had invested heavily into biotechnology, into exactly what the mutants ended up harnessing when they harnessed Krakoa. The medicines, in fact, were so close to breakthroughs that Terra Verde were close to, that Terra Verde came out and basically said straight up, this is plagiarism, and threatened to sue Krakoa. Now you can imagine being the second one to discover something obviously doesn't work out well sometimes. So where the mutants have been able to leverage these drugs to the benefit of mutant kind, Terra Verde was left with a mountain of debt and was pretty resentful. But they've come to terms with it, and they've finally agreed to terms with Krakoa to accept drugs and recognize Krakoa as a nation. Well, it's when Professor Xavier goes to meet the president and to do this big conference where they are announcing to the world that Terra Verde is recognizing the nation of Krakoa, when the president of the nation is attacked by the individuals who have been enhanced, basically using it's like nanite technology, but with bio-plant-based product. Well, what we find out through the course of the investigation that Sage and Beast conduct is that those individuals, they weren't there for the president. They weren't there for Professor X. They were actually there for the president's son. And we find out later in the story that the president, and of course this is right when Jean Grey is about to rescue him, that the president's son, he doesn't want to be rescued. He is actually with these individuals. And after he's captured and brought back to Krakoa for investigation, we find out that he had staged his own kidnapping. And the reason he had done that is because they were close, he thought. He thought they were close to perfecting and coding this telefloronic technology that would put them on the map, that would put Terra Verde on the map, and that his father was giving up too soon. Well, after Beast looks at the data, he believes they're close as well. And that's when he makes a really messed up decision here, in that defending Krakoa, he decides this is too dangerous for humans to discover on their own, because it removes the leverage that Krakoa has on all of humanity. And it becomes very obvious that that is not a risk that Beast is willing to take. So what he does is he manipulates these cells to where they actually attack the host's brain and essentially turns him to a vegetable. Pun intended. And Beast justified this because the president would go on and sign this treaty that with Krakoa, and millions of people would be saved because of the Krakoan medicine, and thereby justified, right? Well, it doesn't work out so well, because Beast didn't take everything into account apparently and made a mistake. And this guy turns into basically a plant-based symbiote and walks out. Jump to XForce number 9, which is a few months later, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the whole country of Terra Verde goes dark. No communications, no movement, nothing. And so XForce is sent to investigate. And what they find when they arrive is that this biotechnology has completely overtaken the country and killed everybody. And it becomes pretty obvious that this giant temple is at the epicenter of all of this. So they head that way. And that, my friends, is where we begin XForce number 10. So if you're not a subscriber, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave a like, it helps draw more views to the channel. And of course, prepare to comment down below, because this has some comment-worthy material in this issue. So let's get into this. The book picks off with them going deep into this temple, and the conversation that's going on is mostly between Wolverine and Domino, and it's Wolverine not really wanting to come to grips with the fact that Domino has said that, look, if I'm resurrected, I don't want to remember the part where I was captured and tortured. And it's a really interesting dynamic when you think about it, because Wolverine has lived years and years and years trying to get his memories back. So for her to say, I don't want to remember this portion of my life, it just doesn't sit well with him. But Domino's counter argument here is almost nature versus nurture. She makes the argument that, look, the things they did to me that I remember, did they create a version of me that's a monster? And do I want to be that going forward? Or would I be better off not knowing what happened and I could go back to being me? Well, it's mid-sentence that Domino just screams, "Stop!" And out of the walls just come a bunch of spikes. Luckily, Quentin is there and is able to stop him before Wolverine ends up 11 kinds of impaled. Of course, Kid Omega can't just do this and not rub Wolverine's nose in it. He has to talk all kinds of crap to him. And then as Domino's walking away, she has to say, you know what? If you had one of those virtue names like Patience or Charity, it would be blank. I mean, I don't know what she said, but I can imagine, right? And that's when Wolverine kind of just shuts everyone up and says, look, everyone shut up and read. And they look up at this giant engraved wall. And hats off to Joshua Cassara here on the art here and your effects on the coloring, because the chamber there and all is dark and lit by Kid Omega. It was really cool looking, and you have this ritualistic sacrifice depicted on the wall. Well, as the team gets lost in the immensity of this wall and the detail of it, suddenly some vines bust out of the darkness and grab Kid Omega and drag him off. And then as Domino turns around and looks in one direction, suddenly Wolverine's getting drug off in the other, and she's left there in complete darkness. From there, we jump back to Krakoa, where Black Tom Cassidy is standing in front of the portal. He's about to go through it, and he wants to go be a hero. He wants to make up for the earlier assassination of Professor Xavier, but he can't do it, because when he goes to try to go through the gate to go down to Terra Verde, Krakoa actually reaches up and stops him. And there's something going on here with this relationship, this codependency that the two have for each other, Krakoa and Black Tom. And Black Tom actually reaches down and removes the roots from his feet and picks up dirt from the ground and puts it in his mouth. And he says, look, this will just bring us luck and reassurance. Just give me a kiss. And he actually rubs dirt in his mouth and then says he's packing the sweet taste of Krakoa with him on this trip. Back to the temple, Domino's been stumbling around in the dark before she realized that this biotech that Forge had given her can actually do just about anything, so she uses it to create night vision. And with that, she's able to just follow the claw marks where Wolverine had dug into the ground where these plants were dragging him away. So she follows that, and what she finds is him pinned to the slab of this stone and about to be sacrificed. Jumping again back to Krakoa, Beast is trying to radio for the team and he can't get a hold of anybody. And that's when Jean Grey comes in. Right after he gets done saying, man, I've made a mess of this, Jean Grey comes in and says, look, I'm glad we can agree about something. And it's at that point that she reveals that she is not happy with Beast. She grabs him, throws him up in the air, and slams him to the ground. And he's already apologizing midair, saying, let me explain. And she's like, oh, curious timing. You want to apologize after you've been caught. Did you think your mind was too vast of a library for me to work my way through it? Are you that arrogant? And Beast is trying to defend himself. He's like, I didn't lie. I just neglected to. And Jean isn't having it. She says, an omission of the truth is a lie. You lied to us. And Beast is still trying to defend himself. He's like, by that logic, as a deniable operation team, we're a nest of lies. We're a team of lies. Those lies are meant to serve the greater good. And she's like, no, those are for the humans, not us. XForce exists because of trust, a trust in the vision of mutant kind. But Beast, he just continues to logic and argue his way through this, saying that, look, I understand why you are hesitant about this, but you have to consider the risk and the harm. I harmed one person, and who is at risk? Thousands, maybe millions? It's bad math. If a vaccine harms one person but negates a harmful virus for millions of others, you let the one consume your logic, you're harming yourself. You have to go with the greater good. I had to harm the president's son in order to counter the risk he posed to Krakoa. And then Beast tries to flip it on her and says, well, maybe I should be upset because you're the one that breached my mind without permission. And Jean Grey just shuts him down. She says, look, shut up. Forget math. Don't you see the human cost of what you've done? Back in Terra Verde, Black Tom is in a fight for his life as these plants and plant monster things are coming out everywhere after him, and he's doing everything he can to hold them back, but realizing that he can't control them for whatever reason, that the plants have an ear to somebody else. Well, it's at that point that Jean shows up, and she absolutely shuts everything down. And what she manages to do is use the powers of Black Tom and Sage to combine them and basically hack the Terra Verde technology in order to kill it. And basically Black Tom acts like the Trojan horse, and that allows Sage to get in there and reprogram this thing to attack itself. And that's exactly what it does. All these plants start turning black and they start dying. But wait, there's more. So Wolverine is chilling in a Krakoan hot spring, just, hanging out hot tub style, when suddenly Jean shows up. And as soon as she does, Wolverine's like, so you quit, huh? And she says, look, I'm supposed to be the mind reader here, Logan. He's like, look, no offense, but I'm surprised it took this long because you're too good for this kind of work. Well, it's at that point that they mention, well, Sage, even though she's more like a calculator, she's going to have to be the moral compass for now. And maybe they could reach out to Colossus, but it's also kind of when she hops in the tub with him. And after stealing his drink from him and cuddling up to him, she finally swings around and says, look, if you think I'm too good for XForce, you probably think I'm too good for you. And Wolverine comes back with, well, sure, but you need a taste of poison now and then, just to keep things balanced, as he reaches up and apparently kisses her. Alright, so there were also a couple white pages. One of them in particular I want to talk about, and actually go into with some of my ever-increasing problems with the white pages. First of all, the white page itself goes into what happens after Jean gets done with Beast and storms out. And basically it goes into him realizing, or she shows him what happened, that all of these individuals were killed. She made him feel that for a minute. But after she does this, she's talking to him about, look, we have to be able to trust each other. We have to hold each other accountable. And the only way we can do that is by being honest with each other. And after that, she takes off. And after she's gone, he turns and no one's there, and a single tear just runs down his face and he just wipes it away. I mean, now that sounds really, it reads on a white page like, oh man, that's okay, cool. Maybe Beast just got a big dose of humility. But in actual, it's a visual medium. You need to be able to see that. There's these white pages, they've run their course. It's time to put them away. Unless it's something that is better depicted in a graph, there is no reason in a comic book to put a wall of text. All right, moving on to the actual review of the book. The book was good. The art is fantastic. Joshua Cassara is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists. His action shots, his everything. I love the depiction of that temple and the walls, and the coloring from Guru Effects is awesome as well, especially in this temple. Since issue 1, XForce has had this gritty look, and I'm glad that they're staying with that. The characters look good. Everything, I mean, I can't complain about the art at all. One thing I will complain about is love triangles. So the way that, in my opinion, love triangles work best is when you have the two interests, and it's that competition back and forth. Or there's that one that's the underdog that's it's never going to happen, but you always kind of want it to happen. The unfortunate thing is that once it happens, once you've rung that bell, you can't unring it. And also, what isn't interesting is a love triangle where nobody cares who's doing what, especially when it involves a married couple and someone else. That's weird. So I'm hoping we're going to find out that Krakoa is manipulating people, that Krakoa somehow is tweaking everybody to this you get what you want paradise utopia, and that something here, there's an undertone of something is still not right. And eventually it's going to blow up in everybody's face. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see how that pans out. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave a like. It felt good to get a new comic book day going on again and get a video up, especially to have some quality X-Men content. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's all I got. Real Comic Stacks. Out.